Hi, folks. Welcome back to Hey Dad, or welcome for the first time. So, it has happened. At the beginning of this month, February, I am now retired. Let me tell you how this officially happened over the last 3 months and where I'm going from here. So, this came about, just briefly to explain, it came about over the last 3 months because the university where I worked decided to take my position, which had always been a remote position, or basically based in one of our satellite campuses. It decided to take that position and make it a requirement that whoever holds the position must live at the home campus. And I, having just moved about a year and a half prior, I was not willing to do that. So I had to make that decision. I had 30 days to make that decision. I actually did research moving, and it was just, it wasn't that it wasn't financially doable, it was, but I didn't want to uproot my daughter for the second time in a couple years to go to a different school system, live in a different city, leave friends behind and family behind. I was just not willing to do that because of the impact on her. And so I told them after 30 days, no, I'm not going to accept the move. You'll have to lay me off. And as they had already detailed, yep, another 60 days and my position ended. So that was January 31st. So the day after is when I retired. Now for me, retirement means not that I'm taking Social Security or something like that. Basically, it means that I'm not going to work a 40-hour work week anymore. I am going to plan my life around living on the resources that I have built up. And for me, being age 60, that means I'm going to have to kind of phase in my retirement. So here I am at 60, almost 61 in a couple months, which means I'm going to start my retirement basically living off of my investments and savings. And I had built that up through a long period of time and through the planning and hard work and support of others and a bit of luck as well. So I have those resources now. And I was like, when I got the news that this position was going to change, I was really, really upset. But within 24 hours, I came to understand that, I actually have the resources to be able to retire because of all that hard work and support from the past. And I decided that, we're going to go for it. I live a pretty frugal life. I can get by in the first year and a half on my own resources, and then start phasing in other things. So here's the plan. Here's my hope. I have basically $500,000 in investments, and I'm going to use that to live for about 15 months. From there, I can start taking Social Security at 62. And I will take it early. My original plan had been to retire at 63. So I'll start taking Social Security a year early, and that will relieve some of the strain on using my investments for life. And then come 65, 3 years later, I will take my state pension. So I'm ultimately going to end up with 4 sources. The plan is there are 4 sources of income by the time I'm 65, kind of the standard retirement age. And that'll be, of course, Social Security, state pension, investments, and I have an annuity as well. So by 65, I should have that all phased in and actually be bringing home more than I was when I was at the university. So that's kind of the timeline of the next few years of my retirement. I also plan on having a side hustle. There are all sorts of ways I can do that. There's, consulting that I could do. I could be a substitute teacher, substitute once a week in my state, and, bring home, the goal is a few $100s a month, which can supplement my travel budget, basically, $300 a month after taxes, and, I've got more than $3,000 a year. I could do a good trip for $3,000 in a year. So that's also going to be a resource for helping me do the things that I want to do in retirement. So what are my plans for keeping busy? Well, of course, I live in a town with my family. So I have family here, and I have family out of state, which I can visit periodically. I have my friends. I think I've mentioned it before, I'm not sure. I am a Freemason. I belong to a lodge. And, we do a lot of work with charity and self-improvement and fellowship and all that. And I can easily use that resource of friends and fellowship to keep myself busy and do charitable works. I also play bridge, so I can pick up a game here and there at the local bridge club. I am a member of a queer book club. We always have something going on, and we meet every other week. So I've got that going on. I have my church, where I am somewhat involved and have things to do there. And then, of course, there's also travel. So I think I have plenty to keep me busy. I'm also now in the midst of trying to formulate a plan for better health, to keep me exercising, keep me moving, and maintain my good health. In the long term, through from now 60 to 65, I already talked about kind of my financial plan there. In the long term, I also, like when I reach 65, is when my daughter will graduate from high school, and she will be officially an adult. I'm sure she will still need me as a parent, and I plan on still, having her live with me. But kind of the bigger picture there is by the age of 65, I plan on selling my current home, which is of moderate size, but I could downsize, from a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, still have my daughter be able to live with me, but also have a smaller footprint to maintain. And it's my plan to actually downsize, use some of the money from selling this home, which I own outright, to buy that smaller unit, and then to also buy a place in Palm Springs. And it's my plan, it's long, 25 years it's been my plan that when I retire, I want to live in basically a gay-friendly resort town. So that would be Palm Springs for us West Coast folks. And live in Palm Springs, buy a unit down there, live there 5 months a year, 5 to 6 months a year. And then that would be in like fall and winter. And then in spring, come back to my home with my daughter and continue to live with her and go through spring and summer up here in the Pacific Northwest, instead of the blazing heat of Palm Springs in spring and summer. So that's kind of the long-term plan. That there will be changes most definitely in the future for me. So here I am. I'm on my way. I am retired, and I am telling folks that now too. And that doesn't mean that I won't do some work, but it definitely means I'm not going to be working like I used to. I'm grateful. I gotta say, there's the last 3 months of my employment was really, really tough emotionally. There, some things happened with relationships and with work that, were really pressing on my joy and peace. And I had to really kind of keep my head down and keep moving forward. And now I feel like I've come to this point, it's actually happening, and it's going to be, everything's going to be okay. Um, I have a lot to be grateful for, and I have a great future ahead of me, and I hope to do a lot of fun things and a lot of growing because I'll have time to do that since I don't have to work for somebody else anymore. So I thought I'd update you that, I had thought this was going to happen and I had talked about it in other videos and now it has happened. So moving forward, looking forward to it. If you enjoy this content, please do like and subscribe. My channel is growing and I appreciate that. I appreciate the support of those of you who have subscribed in the past. I'm getting more views. I appreciate that. This is kind of a side hustle that I'm developing. And I hope to have a bright future for this YouTube channel as well. Comment, let me know what you'd like to see in the future. And I look forward to talking to you again. Take care.